Still the Place with Laura Layton,
Courtney Thorne-Smith,
and Daphne Zuniga, an iHeartRadio podcast.
Hi, ladies. This is such a great Melrose Minute because we had this episode that was so chock full of stuff. The thing that I kept noticing that really drove me crazy in this episode is that Kimberly and Michael are deep into their affair, and Allison sees them kissing, just overtly making out in the park.
Oh, so overt.
So overt. And she spends all this time sort of chasing down Michael and confronting him. Never, ever mentions telling Jane, which I thought was so strange. Well, so what do you think and I understand not wanting to get in the middle, and Michael sort of says, well, you did this with Keith, so you don't have a leg to stand on. What do you guys think? Do you confront the guy? Do you tell the friend? Like, if she finds out that Allison didn't tell her, won't she be furious? Have you been on either side of it or been close to this kind of situation?
I mean, in your character, Allison confronts the guy. Like, you go right up to, you follow him into the laundry room and confront him. I thought that was interesting for Allison, who is being portrayed as kind of the good girl and very Midwestern, and had an affair not that long ago with a married man, with Keith. So you do confront him. I thought that was interesting. Instead of going to Jane, or instead of talking to Joe, about it, what do we do? What do I do?
Yeah. Well, it is sort of interesting because I think probably not a whole lot of time has passed, right, in what Allison has decided to do. So I can understand like that conundrum of going, I feel so gross and angry about this, but like deciding to confront the guy before going to the friend, I thought it's almost like confirmation, and then for Allison's purpose, it does sort of get worse by his confirmation of it. He doesn't have a good excuse. He actually doubles down and he's like Mr. Entitled about it, which is super gross, which it does feel like the next thing Allison should do is tell Jane.
I mean, and then on the other hand, she's Miss Nosy Body. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wish that she hadn't confronted him. I know we had to do that for storyline. I wish she'd gone to Jane, because Michael totally denied it in her face, gaslighting with a vengeance, with real audacity. And he does that. So you're just like, oh, okay, all right. Geez, that was the wrong move. And now if she goes to Jane, I just wish she had gone to Jane first.
Maybe the fantasy in her mind was she would say to Michael, I saw you, and you go, oh my God, I'm so, so sorry. It was a terrible mistake. I'm never going to do it again.
Yeah.
He would be contrite. His reaction made it so much worse.
Yeah.
Right? That he's saying, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm going to keep doing it.
Have you ever had were you ever faced with this like dilemma of like, do I tell my friend something she's really not going to want to hear, but I have to be the one to deliver this news? Like, have you ever been in that? Like, I don't think I've ever had to do that and be, I mean, you hear about it, right? Like, oh God, I can understand the not wanting to be in the middle. I don't think I've ever been in, I know that like, I don't know. I just see it sort of
memory these days.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Nothing this extreme, but I have, like, you hear that someone saw someone's husband on a dating site.
Oh.
And then
an actual husband or an ex-husband?
An current husband.
Current. That's really gross.
And then what do you do? Do you tell the wife?
I don't know. Like, because here are the 17 layers of it, right? So you have the layer of, do you tell her maybe they have an agreement? Maybe they have an agreement. Maybe they have an open marriage, and you're just humiliating her by telling her, right? Like, you don't have the information. We don't know ever what goes on behind closed doors, right? So do you say, I saw this? Because then you're shining light on something that's none of your business.
But then if you don't say anything, you're the friend who didn't say anything. And I don't want to be that person. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, then you're the friend. Like, what kind of friend are you? You just saw that and you didn't say anything. I could see like getting in trouble for that too.
And but then you've brought this thing to the surface. What if they were sort of in happy denial, and then they know, so then now there's an eye on this problem in their marriage. I don't know. It's so complicated.
And I do think you're right. Like, there's a possibility. I think this happens a lot where the person receiving this news so desperately doesn't want to accept it, that they turn their anger sort of as the person who delivered the news, messenger. Yeah. Don't shoot the messenger, but I think that's a really classic sort of thing to happen. I think that's probably like if I were ever in this position, I think I would super grapple with, I don't want to be the one to deliver this news, but I don't want to not
Okay,
share.
I want to know. I just need to say it.
Yeah.
You two, if you in real life, okay, forget the podcast, forget the characters, forget Melrose Place. I need to know. I don't want to be like, well, maybe Daphne has an open situation. Well, maybe she'll get mad at me. Take the chance and tell me, for God's sakes.
Courtney, should we tell her? Should we tell her?
This is
it time
a
to tell her?
roundabout way to open this conversation.
Yes. Do you know anything?
I don't know. We've been holding this information.
Exactly, Courtney.
I didn't know how to tell you, but I thought maybe doing it.
I know all the passwords.
On the Melrose Minute is the right time to tell you this really important information. Daph, are you ready? Are you sitting down?
We like to keep our really personal, intimate conversations for the Melrose Minute. So
Yes.
And under the guise of like just talking about it in a hypothetical way, actually, we have something to share with you, Daph.
But I totally would want to know. And if let me ask you guys, if I know something, what should I do going forward? If I find out anything about either of you and your partners, well,
number one, wait for the Melrose Minute. Number one,
definitely do it on the Melrose Minute.
That's the most important thing.
I will.
Yeah.
And then I'll wait for this show.
Actually, maybe a full hour episode. I just want all of it.
Yeah.
Like just, all night.
Totally.
Intimate.
It'll up our ratings. Okay. But then I do what?
I think for me, it's because the person who saw the guy on the dating site, these are not intimates of mine, right? So I'd have to first of all call this person and say, listen, it's Courtney. You don't know me well, but
we're not close.
Explain who I was.
Yeah.
I'm just a busybody.
You may remember me from Melrose Place. Listen.
Yo, K-pop fans, it's your boy Bomhan, and I'm bringing you something epic. Introducing the K Factor, the podcast that takes you straight into the heart of K-pop. We're talking music reviews, exclusive interviews, and deep dives into the industry like never before. From producers and choreographers to idols and trainees, we're bringing you the real stories behind the music that you love. And yeah, we're keeping it 100, discussing everything from comebacks and concepts to the mental health side of the business. Because K-pop isn't just a genre, it's a whole world, and we're exploring every corner of it. And here's the best part. Fans get to call in, drop opinions, and even join us live at events. You never know where we might pop up next. So listen to the K Factor on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hey, my name's Jay Shetty, and I'm the host of On Purpose. I just had a great conversation with Michelle Obama.
To whom much is given, much is expected. The guilt comes from, am I doing enough? Me, Michelle Obama, to say that to a therapist. So let's unpack that.
Former First Lady Michelle Obama and someone who knows her best, her big brother Craig,
will be hosting a podcast called IMO.
What have been your personal journeys with therapy?
We need to be coached throughout our lives.
My mom wanted us to be independent children. And she would always tell me, stop worrying about your sister.
Having been the first lady of the entire country and representing the country in the world, I couldn't afford to have that kind of disdain.
What would you say has been the most hardest recent test of fear? Listen to On Purpose with Jay Shetty on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's nostalgia overload as Wilmer Valderrama and Freddie Rodriguez welcome another amigo to their podcast, Dos Amigos. Wilmer's friend and former That 70s Show castmate Topher Grace stops by the Speakeasy for a two-part interview to discuss his career and reminisce about old times.
We were still in that place of like, what will this experience become? And you go, you're having the best time you're ever going to have. Yeah. But it was like such a perfect golden time.
Listen to Dos Amigos on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I found out I was related to the guy that I was dating.
I don't feel emotions correctly.
I am talking to a felon right now, and I cannot decide if I like him or not.
Those were some callers from my call-in podcast, Therapy Gecko. It's a show where I take real phone calls from anonymous strangers all over the world as a fake gecko therapist and try to dig into their brains and learn a little bit about their lives. I know that's a weird concept, but I promise it's pretty interesting if you give it a shot. Matter of fact, here's a few more examples of the kinds of calls we get on this show.
I live with my boyfriend, and I found his piss jar in our apartment.
I collect my roommate's toenails and fingernails. I have very overbearing parents. Even at the age of 29, they won't let me move out of their house.
So if you want an excuse to get out of your own head and see what's going on in someone else's head, search for Therapy Gecko on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. It's the one with the green guy on it.
The #1 hit true crime podcast, The Girlfriends, is back with something new, The Girlfriends Spotlight. Our first 2 series introduce you to an incredible gang of women who teamed up to fight injustice, showing just how powerful sisterly solidarity can be. We're keeping this mission alive with the Girlfriends Spotlight. Each week, a different woman sits down with me, Anna Sinfield, to share their incredible story of triumph over adversity. Like June, who founded an all-female rock band in the 1960s.
I might as well have said, we're gonna walk on the moon.
But she sure showed them who's boss and toured the world.
They would just be gobsmacked, and they would rush up after the set and say, not bad for chicks.
So come and join our girl gang. Listen to The Girlfriend Spotlight on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
So then that I would not, right? Like I will never say that. But if it was one of my inner circle of friends, I absolutely would because of what you said, Daphne. I would be so horrified if one of my truly intimate friends knew something like this and didn't tell me, because I would feel like they were lying to me.
Yeah.
So then I would tell, and I would say, I love you no matter what you choose to do with this, no judgment, because I really don't have any judgment. Like people get to what they want. No judgment, but I just need you to know this because I tell you everything, and I just want to have a clear channel. So then
it is like sort of choosing your loyalties, right? Like you're my friend, and you're the one who should know what I know. Like it's you I want to protect, and by having this information, I'm looking out for you.
But if you're friends with both the couple and your loyalty is to them as a couple, it's tricky, man. It's really tricky, isn't it?
It wouldn't be a fun position to be in.
What other people would say, because but I know what I would want. And
yeah. Oh, just for the record,
I would too. On the other hand, if you ever see me on a site, zip it.
Yeah.
Because we have an agreement.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'd want to know too. But maybe keep it off the Melrose Minute. I don't know.
Come on, it's fun.
It's a personal preference.
Yeah. But this is we'll see. Hopefully our listeners will pipe in and say what they would do or have had done to them. I don't know. Yeah, I just think
it'll be interesting to see too. Like now that Jane has an idea, does she mention it to her dear friend Allison? And does Allison say, listen, now that you bring it up, I want to mention this little tidbit to you.
Then she would get mad at you, I'm sure.
Then she, of course.
How could you not tell me? Yeah.
Yeah. No, it seems like that's coming, and it's totally fair. Like she's figured it out on her own anyway, sort of, but like it's going to give Allison the opportunity to say, actually, now that you mention it, but it is still going to open up the can of worms. Like, why didn't you tell me sooner?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so, unfortunately, right. It's humiliating for the person who was cheated on, right? It shouldn't be, because it's not about them. It doesn't say anything about them, but in a way you're humiliating your friend by saying, listen, this person cheated on you. And it's so embarrassing when somebody knows something intimate about you, your life, that you didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that reaction might be very, as we said earlier, it might be angry at you. Like if your denial is strong and like, what do you know? And then suddenly you have no friend anymore. I'm very, very, all or nothing, and I make, I want to know, and you're gone. If you go, you're gone. You're dead to me, and I'll probably end up in jail because I have to kill you. But
that is a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Maybe we won't tell Daphne.
Yeah, well, now you're making me rethink.
They want
On
to go
one hand,
visit
she
her.
says she wants to know, but on the other hand,
no, I just feel like I could just see like it's a no-win situation.
I do have a friend who has like a neighbor that she saw, a neighbor that's like married or whatever, but she saw this neighbor. So like to your point, like not a close friend, but a neighbor with somebody that wasn't her husband, and sort of witnessed this, and she just sort of filed it away, or like, but it wasn't her place, like, because she wasn't a close enough friend to say anything about it. But the neighbor then, who knew that my friend saw, said, hey, I just wanted to let you know what you saw. It's actually, we do have an agreement and an open relationship. Really? And I just wanted to, just so you just don't think anything's weird or whatever. And it was that situation where it was explained by this unique relationship, and it was an agreement and whatever. But the neighbor sort of, even though, it's not like a close.
So did your friend say, really? So
it was just sort of like an interesting.
Does your wife know about the open?
Does your wife know that there's an agreement?
Is the wife in on this open agreement? Yeah. And so
great that you have it.
Yeah. So like, I think there are sort of some unexpected,
you never know,
outcomes to things like that. Even like, it's such a weird thing, a hypothetical. And I think it's like a case to case. It's based on what your relationship was with the person, and like your relationship with the person, whether it's, important for you to get involved or whatever. And but just, again, it just calls Michael out for just being absolutely the opposite of having any consciousness at all.
Yeah. And you also don't want it to be so. Allison has now told Billy, and Allison will probably tell Joe, and then she'll tell Jake. You don't want Jane to feel like the last to know.
Everyone knows,
been
except
talking about.
Yeah, that
would be horrible.
I would see Allison telling Joe, and then Joe marching right down to Jane's. I could see Joe marching right down with Allison and going, Jane. Oh, hi, Michael.
That's episode
you're
30.
Here. Sit on down. I have something to ask.
Which again might sort of throw Allison under the bus. Like, oh, really? Yeah. Joe would tell me, but not you, Allison.
Yes, but I think that's what she would do for sure.
I love that we have to use our Melrose characters to imagine like what we would do. Like, there's so many of these circumstances. You're like, I've never really been in this position.
Well, maybe when the show is on, Laura, like people would do stuff and then say, well, what would Melrose do? It's fine.
Well, yeah, but when I faked being blind so people would be nice to me, I really felt like.
Did you wonder what I really do?
I didn't have to wonder. Sometimes the script it's like your real life.
Yeah.
Right?
How did they know? How do they know that's exactly the type of thing that you would do?
It was a documentary, Melrose Place, actually.
Yeah.
Going back to our original question of this Melrose Minute, if you put it on Melrose Place, we'd be like, oh, boring, ho-hum. Yes. This happens like every other day. Somebody's cheating on somebody.
Yeah.
We had to skip ahead to watch an episode that Rob Estes was in, and we were like, what is happening? There was so much going on.
Yeah. Plenty of conversation.
We get a taste of that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens in 30.
It can make us ask a lot of what would I do in real life questions.
Oh, you guys. Oh, what to do? I'd like to hear what
Well, it's good to know that you guys would like to know. I'm on the fence.
Okay.
So
noted.
So we'll be very careful.
My dog's out walking with someone else. You guys keep it to
all right. We'll weigh all the pros and cons, and
that's a whole other Melrose Minute.
Right.
Dog walkers.
But yeah, perfect.
All right, guys.
All right, on that note.
Can't wait to see you for episode 30.
See you for the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Yo, K-pop fans, are you ready? It's your boy Bomhan, and I'm bringing you the K Factor, the podcast that takes you straight into the heart of K-pop. We're talking music, idols, exclusive interviews, and even the real behind-the-scenes K-pop stories. Plus, you, the fans, you're part of the show. And you can get a chance to jump in, share your opinions, and be part of the conversation like never before. And trust me, you never know where we might pop up next. So listen to the K Factor starting on April 16 on iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. This isn't just a podcast. It's a K-pop experience. Are you in? Let's go.
I want you to ask yourself right now, how am I actually doing? Because it's a question that we rarely ask ourselves. All of May is actually Mental Health Awareness Month, and on the psychology of your 20s, we are taking a vulnerable look at why mental health is so hard to talk about. Prepare for our conversations to go deep.
I spent the majority of my teenage years and my 20s just feeling absolutely terrified.
I had a panic attack on a conference call.
Knowing that she had 6 months to live, I was no longer pretending that this was my best friend.
So this Mental Health Awareness Month, take that extra bit of care of your well-being. Listen to the psychology of your 20s on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's nostalgia overload as Wilmer Valderrama and Freddie Rodriguez welcome another amigo to their podcast, Dos Amigos. Wilmer's friend and former That 70s Show castmate Topher Grace stops by the Speakeasy for a two-part interview to discuss his career and reminisce about old times.
We were still in that place of like, what will this experience become? And you go, you're having the best time you're ever going to have. Yeah. But it was like such a perfect golden time.
Listen to Dos Amigos on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, I'm Jay Shetty, and my latest interview is with Michelle Obama.
To whom much is given, much is expected. The guilt comes from, am I doing enough? Me, Michelle Obama, to say that to a therapist. So let's unpack that. Having been the first lady of the entire country and representing the country in the world, I couldn't afford to have that kind of disdain.
Listen to On Purpose with Jay Shetty on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Clayton English.
I'm Greg Lott.
And this is season 2 of the War on Drugs podcast.
Yes, sir. Last year, a lot of the problems of the drug war. This year, a lot of the biggest names in music and sports.
It's kind of star-studded a little bit, man.
We met them at their homes. We met them at their recording studios. Stories matter, and it brings a face to them.
It makes it real.
It really does. It makes it real.
Listen to new episodes of the War on Drugs podcast season 2 on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.